You know something I really appreciate about One Piece, ladies and gentlemen? It's the historical accuracy that Oda goes through great strides in research to incorporate into his manga. Think about it. Hundreds of years ago, back in pirating times, there were no modern military technology like missiles or nukes to launch at an island and wipe it out. No, they had to throw Garp at islands back then. It was a very different time period, right? You had to load Garp up on a ship, toss him at an island, and just wish for the best, okay? Lost to the annals of history, truly. All right, hey everybody, Teching 101 back again alongside my co-host, Barry the Vampire Brick. Wanted to try something different out with this video, okay? We're not exactly going to be breaking down the entire episode. Instead, we're going to be looking at the anatomy of this one particular scene, all right? This is an idea I've had for a little while that I want to try out. I want to take some various scenes in One Piece. In some cases, maybe even only a single panel of the manga, and I want to really break it down on why that scene is so impactful, okay? Everybody knows about the most famous scenes in One Piece, you know, like nothing happened, or I want to live, or the One Piece is real. But there's a lot of other scenes, too, that might have been discussed a lot when the chapter first came out, but then, you know, it just kind of like fades over time, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But there's a lot of really good scenes in One Piece that you could kind of dig up and look at like why this was such a, you know, a big impact to a character or a story. I posted on the community tab yesterday, you know, for you guys to give me some suggestions, and I have a list, but I thought it would be great to start it off with something rather topical, and that is, of course, the galaxy impact that Garp delivers at Hachinosu in the last episode. What makes this scene so amazing? And I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, Teching, you don't need to break down this scene. It's a very simple scene. It's a 78-year-old man punching an island. That's all you need. No, no, no. There's a whole reason why this is a big deal. And the reason why it's a big deal is because Garp is doing something, all right? Garp, a character that we haven't really seen all that much of in terms of full power, just letting loose. That is what this scene is, okay? It is the payoff of, I want you to understand this, over 20 years of hype for a particular character. And we're going to be certainly getting a lot more of this in the One Piece story as we continue down in this final saga. So, just to give you a little bit of backstory here on why this is such a big deal, why Garp jumping off of a ship that he himself propelled into the sky and then nuking an island with his fist is a big deal. Let's break down the scene. So Garp first appears in One Piece, not even in the mainline story arcs. He appears in a cover story, which is still canon. It's just as canon as the rest of the manga. But he shows up in chapter 92 in the Diary of Kobe Meppo. We do not know his full name is Monkey D. Garp, and we also only see his mask on. We only see like the lower half of his face. Don't see his full face yet, okay? And he stays that way all the way up until Enies Lobby. You know, I was not reading One Piece weekly back then during Enies Lobby, post Enies Lobby. Maybe you guys were, but I'll tell you what, it would have been a big shocker at that moment where we get to see the guy, you know, Garp, this, you know, really powerful vice admiral dude that recruited Kobe and Helmeppo and is training them up, takes off his mask and it's revealed, oh, by the way, this is Luffy's grandpa. Also, if you're a really big fan of One Piece, you might know about Garp because he does appear in one of the Romance Dawn, like, proto chapters, like Romance Dawn 1 or 2. He shows up there, and so Oda reincorporated him into the main story, right? But you didn't, I guess, know about that at the very beginning, unless maybe you were, like, a really, really hardcore One Piece fan, okay? So, for the most part, Garp is in the background, you know, just training Kobe and Helmeppo. He's like, yeah, he's a strong guy. He took a hit from Morgan and didn't even really register that he has like a giant bloody gash on the front of his chest. He just like, well, I fell asleep, whatever, okay. So he shows up at Post Enies Lobby. He reveals, you know, like where Luffy reveals, oh yeah, that's my grandpa. His name's Monkey D. Garp. And then we also find out about Luffy's father, Monkey D. Dragon. And the Straw Hats leave Water 7 on the new ship, Thousand Sunny, as Garp is chucking cannonballs at Luffy. So we've really yet to see Garp's full power. We know he's strong enough to knock Luffy around. We know he's strong enough to throw giant, cannonballs and things, but we haven't seen Garp really go all out. He's more of just kind of like, he's like, oh, my dumb grandson, all right, bring me that giant 10-ton cannonball, let me chuck it at him, just like old times. We have Marineford. Now, this Galaxy Impact moment in the recent episode really kind of paints Marineford in a different light, because it's like, dude, if Garp would have went full power at Marineford, oh my god. Now, it makes sense why he didn't, because, you saw the absolute devastation that attack levied on Hachinosu, alright? Like, if you go by the anime, which I totally am at this point, it is the equivalent of a nuke, alright? There were entire stone buildings that were incinerated when Garp brought the fist down, alright? So if Garp were to have done that, like, in the middle of the plaza at Marineford, like, a lot of Marines would have died. A lot of them would, okay? And so I could kind of understand why Garp didn't go full power there, right? But even at Marineford, we didn't really get that much of Garp, okay? There was a scene where Garp was fighting against Marco, but, like, you get the impression if Garp went full power against Marco, Marco would have been roasted chicken by the end of that arc. Like, oh my god. So maybe Garp had to, like, Oda had to kind of nerf him a bit at Marineford. Like, we don't want the war to end too quickly now. There was the scene where Garp goes up against Luffy, but he just can't bring himself to seriously wound his grandson, so Luffy punches him off the bridge, and then Luffy continues up to go to save Ace, right? There's all that. So definitely during Marineford, Oda holds, Garp back for a little bit. Like, we have stuff we're gonna see with him later, okay? So that's basically Garp. I mean, we see him around in, like, his office talking to Sengoku and joking around there. We saw him at Reverie escorting Shirahoshi and everybody up to Marijois. So that's basically what we see of Garp in the present, but we also have learned a lot about his past at this point. We knew he used to fight Goldie Roger, but we also learned he fought at God Valley against Rocks. We have been told multiple times that this man in his prime was the most powerful Marine soldier that ever lived, basically. His power knows no bounds, yet we've yet to see an actual concrete display, an example of show, not tell, of what Garp is capable of. Until now. So, as Garp launches his ship into the air, which in and of itself is something that requires a tremendous amount of hockey control. In the manga, it was kind of like ambiguous. How exactly did the ship get airborne? They show it in the anime. Garp just jumps up into the air, punches the air, the shockwave goes like around the ship, hits the ocean only, and then propels the ship into the air. Alright, so that feat alone, pretty damn impressive, but all of the pirates at Hachinosu look up at this spectacle, and they know instantly how dead they are, okay? This is a man that is, simply put, the single most famous Marine in the entire world. Okay, he's more famous than the admirals. He's more famous than Sengoku. He holds a level above all of them, all right? Just because he's a vice admiral doesn't mean anything, all right? He could have been promoted to admiral or maybe even fleet admiral. He chose not to, all right? Garp is, simply put, Superman to these low-level pirates. Not even that low level. I mean, they're on Hachinosu. They made it to the New World. But these pirates that are there, that have probably never directly fought Garp their entire lives, they know the stories. They know how strong he is. They know the horrifying things that he can bring about on a pirate island, okay? He is Superman. He is faster than a speeding bullet. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound, and he can annihilate the entire island with a single punch, all right? Might as well be that level to a pirate on Hachinosu, okay? So they look up, and they all begin pissing themselves in abject fear. And Garp is laughing his ass off while this is happening. all right? To put it another way, yeah, Superman or the devil, either way, from a pirate's perspective, same kind of level of dead, all right? Like, oh, God, this is it. We're over, man. Pirates are all hugging them. Ah, man, I loved you, Bert. I loved you too, Ernie. Oh, my God. Well, at least we were pirates, thick and thin, all the way to the end. Yeah, I know, man. All right. Well, at least we get taken out by Garp. It's one cool way to go. Our bodies will be completely incinerated. There won't be even bone marrow left. At least it'll be a quick death, buddy. Just like, that is the kind of shit that is going down on the pirate island when you see Garp's ship flying overhead and his hockey is firing off of him like a damn fireworks show on the 4th of July. All right, okay. So then Garp leaps off of the ship. He brings down the impact. In the anime, there's this really cool scene where, like, the universe appears around him. Like, Garp himself was the one that shaped the Big Bang to happen. You know, I didn't know. I mean, if you want to say that, honestly, the origin of the galaxy in the One Piece world, Garp did it. Garp, in the beginning, Garp the Fist punched reality and it created everything, okay? All known matter, all right? And so, oh my God, all the impact shots in the anime, let's do it. Awesome scene. He brings it down. While this is going on, as the explosion, like, just detonates ground zero, just, and it just completely destroys all the buildings and is tossing the pirates around like rag dolls and everything like that. Bullet's theme from Stampede starts playing when Bullet is just wrecking the Supernova's collective shit in that movie, and that's probably my favorite scene in all of Stampede. Stampede's really not that great of a movie, in my opinion. I mean, like, the animation is really good, and that one scene is really good, but the overall plot line is paper thin, even by One Piece movie standards. You know, there's better movies. But anyway, yeah, so that theme is playing as just the blast radius is just expanding and expanding and expanding. Buildings are being caught on fire and then just being incinerated. Kobe and Hibari barely get out. Like, seriously, Garp was bringing down that attack right on top of Kobe, and Hibari had to, like, run out of there and, like, jump around. Kobe, thank God, is maybe a little prepared for this because he knows, you know, what Garp is capable of, right? Garp, as he's attacking, is like, you know, how dare you kidnap my beloved pupil? Kobe is the future of the Marines. It's like, all the pirates are freaking out, right? He brings down the attack, and we get to really bask in the warmth of that explosion for a while. All right, the anime really goes above and beyond to show you, I think, the perfect amount of time. It doesn't linger on it for too long, where it's like, you know, like a Dragon Ball Z thing, where it's like half the episode is just an explosion. But it's like, okay, we get to stay with it for a few moments of just like how, like, the sheer scale of this attack. And then we get the commercial break. Massive explosion, get to be like, whoa, and then commercial break, and then it's like the little bumpers, and it goes back, and we get two shots in particular I wanted to focus on in this scene. We get this shot right here where we just see the Skull Mountain looming over the destruction, and then we get this shot right here of Garp standing in front of his ship as just pirates are just completely wiped out all around him, okay? And the biggest thing to take away from this entire scene, all right, and it's something that, like, in the manga, it's just a little, once again, this is what I mean by, like, analyzing these scenes, and I put it in the thumbnail so you'll know which one I'm talking about, right? It's not like Oda draws a big double-page spread of just, like, Garp saying this. It's just a panel, it's just a little dialogue bubble, and it's more of just, like, a quick little, just, like, joke between, like, Garp and then the pirates around him. But Garp has a line where he's looking around at the sheer devastation at Ground Zero that he levied, okay? And he's just like, And he looks down at his fist and he just says, "I'm off my game today. I'm off my game today. This is not me at full power. This is not what I am fully capable of. Father Time gets us all eventually." And of course, all the pirates, the ones that aren't dead, climb out of the rubble and are like, "Are you kidding me? You old fart, you know, like, you did all of this You know, like, how many pirates are dead from this? How much damage did you destroy? Like, half the town is destroyed, and you're gonna say that shit? Right? So that is it right there. All of that. And I especially love how the anime built it up because it makes this line even more powerful. All right? Like in the manga, we had the end of the chapter. It was actually the way it was set up in the manga, which is the way I thought they were going to do it last episode. I thought the last episode was going to end with the Galaxy Impact, and then the after effects were going to be in this one. I'm glad they grouped it all into one episode, really, because it makes it work way better, in my opinion. So in the manga, yeah, it was just a big double-page spread as Garp brings down his attack at the very end of the chapter, right? And then we cut, and then we get, like, a week later, we get the next chapter, all right? So by the time Garp says, you know, it was like, oh, this was, you know, I'm off my game. I could have done better. You know, this was not nearly my full power in my prime or something like that, right? There's a little bit of break in between. Here, it's one after the other. It's right after we witness this glorious animation, like, light show, you know? And after all of that, it's like, yep, I am not as good as I used to be. You know, if I was in my prime, this entire island would be gone right now. I mean, that's essentially kind of what Garp is saying. He's unhappy with how he's aged and how his technique has diminished over the years, okay? So that is what makes this a powerful scene to me, okay? It isn't the fact that Garp launches a boat into the air. It isn't the fact that he's laughing maniacally and all the pirates are just running around terrified at literally their boogeyman, their Superman figure, okay? No, it's literally Garp's reaction at the end. The thing that he says after he devastates everybody. And it also hints at, like, the passing of the torch and what we're going to learn about later with Garp and Kobe and Kuzan and everything. How Garp trains the new Marines coming in, and he's just like, look, my time has come and gone. I am not as strong as I used to be. I have one foot in the grave, basically. I'm an old man, but the future of the Marines, it's you, Kobe. It's you, Prince Groose. It's you, Kujaku. Helmeppo, too. You're included, too, Helmeppo. You know, everybody that's gonna carry it on, right? It's the idea that, like, it's time for the old guard to move on and just trust it to the next generation, all right? That's a really good kind of lesson that Garp is teaching, I guess. Now, the way he goes about it, as we're gonna see later, maybe not the best, because he has that whole analogy with the old man and the baby and the Marine inside of the boat, and it's like, which one do you save? And Kobe is like, well, I would save the old man and the baby, and I would stay on the island behind. You know, I would sacrifice myself to let the old man and the baby survive. And Garp is like, no, you idiot, that's so stupid. Leave the old man behind to rot on the island. You take that baby and you go to safety, all right? Because you're the future, all right? And it really does give you an idea, just these couple of scenes really give you an idea of Garp's outlook of how he wants Dragon and Luffy to be the ones to, you know, become stronger than him. At least that's the impression I got from it. Garp might not be super happy that Dragon ran off and became a revolutionary. He's also not very happy that Luffy is a pirate, but he wants them to succeed. He wants them to do well, you know, and also I think he wants them to surpass him. He wants Luffy to be stronger than he was, okay? And so that's kind of Garp's ideology here, and that's kind of what he spreads to the younger Marines and everybody coming through the academy and everything like that. And I feel like it is exemplified in this scene right here. So that is the moment. That is the scene. Let me know how you thought about the structure of this video, and in the future, what are some other scenes in One Piece? Like I said, I have a few written down, and there's a community post you can go check out there. I had some examples, like the ones that popped off my head were like, I want to do one on the scene where Nami was facing down Ulti, and she's like, you know, Luffy will be king of the pirates, like even facing death, you know, she says that. I think the next one I'm going to make, and I remember this one, because this one was very contentious when it first happened in the manga, and then it was one of those things that people just kind of like, you know, like, all right, that happened, whatever. It was when Katakuri was fighting Luffy, and Katakuri took his spear Mogura and like impaled himself, and it was just like, okay, so that I want to make one about that scene in particular, okay? But what are some other ones? Let me know. What are some little scenes in One Piece we can dissect and break apart? This should be really fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Teching 101 here, signing out. Go to the end screen, all that good stuff. Later.